each of you here. Thank you for coming. These brothers have come from all over the United States, and amazing thing yesterday is the planes were running on time. But if you get stuck here today, our homes are open to you. We'll have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I know you want to go home, though, to your families. Before I introduce Bishop Blake, let me just say a word about how we are, as the Assemblies of God and Church of God in Christ, the children of Azusa Street. In the First General Council in April of 2014, the presiding bishop, presiding bishop of the Church of God in Christ, Bishop Mason, came to the Hot Springs meeting. In the subsequent Pentecostal Evangel, or it was actually the Word and Witness, there were two magazines then that later folded into one. In the Word and Witness, which came from Ian Bell, our first General Superintendent, reporting on that First General Council, he stated 4 reasons why he believed that God had manifestly approved the founding of the Assemblies of God. And the 4th reason he gave was that, quote, Brother Mason, a real prophet of God, also in the power of the Spirit, blessed the council in its action for God. Kojic Bishop Ithiel Clemens, who's now with the Lord, in his 1996 history of Kojic, provided more details, and I quote from him. Mason preached on Thursday night. This is the First General Council. Mason preached on Thursday night, illustrating the wonders of God by holding up an unusually shaped sweet potato. He sang his spontaneous improvisation of spiritual songs that Daniel Payne in 1879 called cornfield ditties. With him were the Saints Industrial, singers from Lexington, Mississippi, which was their Bible school at that time. Bishop Clemens says Mason bid the white leaders a warm farewell and gave them leave to void their Church of God in Christ credentials in order to switch to those of their new denomination. In those days, there were a number of loose networks, Pentecostal, that credentialed ministers. The largest network of ministers to merge into the Assembly of God were known as the Church of God in Christ and in unity with the apostolic faith. The group was largely white. Later scholars identified this group as the White Church of God in Christ to distinguish it from Bishop Mason's group. But it's very clear that the relationships that existed then were representative of what the Azusa mission held forth, where the bloodline washes out the color line. Unfortunately, the history of Pentecostalism is that sometimes good people give in to culture. And instead of holding forth the ideal that is represented in the gospel, that there is in Christ neither Jew nor Greek, neither male nor female, neither slave nor free, and neither black nor white. Instead of living with that ideal, we went through a sorrowful season when we were separate from one another in fellowship and in relationship. I am glad that that day is over and that God has brought us together again. In 1937, at the 17th General Council held in Memphis, and I was not there, Bishop Mason brought a precious word. His keynote theme was, be filled with the Spirit and the word of the Lord, and said, let the waters bring forth abundance. And God is bringing forth abundance today through the ministries of both Kojic and the AG as the gospel is being spread throughout the whole world. This is a very historic occasion because, to my knowledge, the leaders of our 2 fellowships have never had a meeting exclusively just together. So this is, I am just overcome with joy and with emotion at this. We're honored to have speak in our chapel this morning Bishop Charles E. Blake, who is the presiding bishop of the Church of God in Christ, and the pastor of the great West Angeles Church of God in Christ in Los Angeles, California, one of the largest churches in America with over 24,000 members that offers more than 80 ministries in the Los Angeles community. He is known as a great preacher of the gospel and a great leader, as well as intensively involved in civic matters and the social well-being of the citizens of Los Angeles and around the world. To respond to the HIV/AIDS crisis and epidemic in Africa, Bishop Blake founded and currently serves as the CEO of Save Africa's Children. This group has assisted over 300 grassroots and faith-based projects in sub-Saharan Africa, reaching over 90,000 AIDS-affected children. Save Africa's Children supports more than 100,000 children in 340 orphan care programs and throughout more than 23 nations in the continent of Africa. Bishop Blake has received numerous awards, commendations, and accolades, including the Distinguished Leadership Award presented by the African Presidential Archives and Research Center at Boston University, the Trumpet Award, the Salvation Army's William Booth Award, the Green Lining Institute's Big Heart Award, and was designated the recipient of the LA Urban League's Whitney M. Young Award. He and his wife May have 3 children and 8 grandchildren, and it is an incredible honor and delight for me today to introduce to you Bishop Charles Blake. Brother Blake, please come.